Welcome to the Adventure Hiking Trail. Well, we're here at the first shelter, Chimney Shelter. It's pretty cool how you could have a fire right here in front of the door of the shelter. Wow. Doesn't look very stable. Take a look in here, see if you want to sleep in here. It's dark. Room for maybe 2 or 3 people. Can anyone tell me what these are? They look like little plums. I found them laying all over the ground along the trail. They smell like plums. I think I'm gonna try one. Not sure how to describe that flavor. Probably poisonous. We have a beautiful sunset happening right now. I just happened to look up and the clouds parted just in the nick of time to see the sun go down below the tree line. Well, nightfall has settled in here at the Chimney Shelter. Trying to get this fire going, struggling just a bit. All right, let's see what's for dinner in the Wishwell Farm bag from Hilltop Packs. Is it going to be Mountain House chicken fried rice or Peak Refuel beef stroganoff? What do you think? We got her going now. That feels really nice. I think I got a good boil going. Oh yeah. If you're wondering, I went with chicken fried rice. Saving the Peak Refuel for another time. Well, good morning. We are finally on the move here at about 8:30 a.m. It was very cold last night, so I didn't sleep the greatest. But we're warming up quickly. It's supposed to be a beautiful day. We're going to try to complete the entire loop today. So we got approximately 21 miles left. We'll take you along for the journey and show you what this adventure hiking trail is all about. So for those of you who may be wondering who's hiking with me, this is my son Gavin, my oldest son, home from college break. And this December, mid-December trip is starting to become an annual tradition. Last year we did the Virginia Triple Crown. And this year I was hoping to go to Grayson Highlands, Dolly Sods, Crannberry Wilderness, Oil Creek. I had all these amazing places on my radar to take him that he has not been to. But it was just gotta be too stinking cold. Neither of us have much winter gear, and you know, like I've said in other videos in the past, I don't really like hiking in the snow and brutal cold. So I've always wanted to come to the Adventure Hiking Trail, and that's why we are here. And originally we were going to do a 2-nighter, but I think we're just going to end up doing a 1-nighter and complete the whole loop all at once. There's something you don't see every day. Pond with an arrow. And there it is. Looks pretty nasty, but if you needed water and you were desperate, I'm sure it would work. And that little pond is only 100 yards away from Primitive Shelter. I believe that's what this one is. Let's go check it out. This thing has like a tin roof and shakes. Oh my. I mean, you can sleep in there, but that's definitely a better place to just hang out in bad weather. This Primitive Shelter certainly wouldn't be my first choice, but it would work in a pinch. Right in front of it is the fire pit, and there's no picnic table here. And that pond is right over there, about 75 to 100 yards. So the Primitive Shelter is about 3 miles. Are you freaking kidding me? Joel's calling. Hey. So the Primitive Shelter is 3 miles from the Chimney Shelter where we camped out last night. And then you add about 1.5 miles to that, so 4.5 miles from Cold Friday Trailhead where we started. Coming up on Indian Creek Shelter. This one does have a wooden floor and a couple picnic tables. Let's go check it out. Cute little shelter. Got a little covered spot here for hanging your pack or food bag maybe. Nice fire ring with a grill rack. And here's the Indian Creek Shelter. Very nice. You could sleep 3 or 4 in here pretty easy, I think. No shelves, but they have a few hooks for hanging your bag. So if you needed a quick bailout spot, you can get to Cold Friday Road in 1.5 miles down that trail. And from that road, I don't know how far it would be to the trailhead. I did not look at my map, but that would be an option if you needed a quick in and out to Indian Creek Shelter. Indian Creek Shelter also has its own pond right up there over that little hill. On the move. Just under 16 miles left to finish this loop. Kind of a nice view right there. Looking right out over Indian Creek. That's a pretty big river. I can hear it flowing down there. We got us another pond up here. This one looks a little cleaner. It's iced over. Pretty cold out. I feel like there's enough of these ponds on this trail that you could get by without catching water. But since we didn't know how many ponds there were and what kind of condition they would be in, we did stash a gallon of water at the where the trail crosses 462 before you turn left to head down towards Cold Friday Road. So we're just a couple miles, maybe 4 or 5 miles from there, and we'll load up on water for the second half. I just realized I haven't heard or seen a bird, squirrel, chipmunk, deer, anything. Where's all the wildlife at? Nothing but jets flying overhead. I thought this was a registration box. Couldn't figure out what it was at first, but I think it's a camera. Looks like there's a little lens there, or maybe it's just a counting device that tracks how many people walk through here. Crossing a little road here, and we are 2.1 miles to 462 where our water cache is. And that'll be almost the halfway point. This is the first reliable looking water source we have come across. Just about 9 miles from Cold Friday Road parking. There's plenty of water to filter right there. However, we're less than a half mile from our water cache. We have arrived here at State Route 462, I think that's what it was. And my water is right over there behind some bark. There she is. I was worried it was going to be frozen as cold as it was this morning, but nope. When I was laying on my hammock last night, I was thinking this might be frozen. I don't think it was near cold enough. It'd have to be like 20 degrees the entire night. I don't know how cold it got last night. I'm guessing it was 30, if I had to guess. I mean, the forecast was calling for 25, so it might have been that cold. All right, we're here at an important intersection. This is called Rendezvous Point, and that way is about 1.5 miles to the parking lot. It's kind of the approach trail, the entrance trail to the loop. And we just came from the south, and we are heading west. We got a random picnic table here on this trail. Might need to investigate this a little bit, see where we're at. We're only like 1 mile from the hog barn, a hog farm shelter. Fire tower? There must be a fire tower that way or that way, I'm not sure. There's a flock of Sandhill Cranes flying south. Pretty sure that's what that is. It sounds like the Sandhill Cranes I saw on the Florida Trail a few years ago. They were really raising a racket a few minutes ago and I missed it. Just came off of the footpath and we're up here on a little Forest Service road. And we're gonna look for a spot to have some lunch. Check out this wall I just stumbled upon. That's pretty impressive. It goes all the way down the hill. Another 100 feet down the hill there. That's pretty cool. Must be some kind of old boundary line. Been walking along this wall for a while. Probably the best feature we've seen so far on this trail. And we are 15.5 miles in. We only got about 5 or 5.5 miles left. So on the maps it shows this as being a waterfall. I bet it's very pretty when there's water flowing. Just a little trickle right now down there. Plenty of water though, for filtering. This is kind of a pretty area here. I would love to see it when the water's flowing. Well, decided to stop for a little snack break, charge the old phone up a little bit. We were gonna cook some lunch, but we're only 4.5 miles from the truck, so I think it's just gonna be some snacks to get us back to the truck, and then we're gonna head out and find some good food somewhere. Problem is, my snack bag's getting low. I am not eating Spam. I decided I'm not gonna stop and cook ramen. I'm not gonna waste my peak refuel on this. The only thing I got left in here is some like fruit leather bars and another Snickers. And some candy and a protein bar. I think that's plenty. Got Skittles, M&Ms, and Sour Patch Kids. Yum. We're at a little crossing here for the bike trail. We got some pretty cool ramps here. There's the little bobcat or mini excavator covered up over there to build these things. We did see a couple bikers a little bit ago. Yeah, these look fun. Well, I was just walking along here thinking a little bit about this trail as a whole, and to be honest with you, I'm not very impressed. Part of it's due to the long drive to get here, almost 4 hours, and to come all this way for a 22-mile loop that's basically just a walk in the woods. Not worth it for me. Now, if I lived in Indiana and had this in my backyard, you better believe that I would be out here weekly trail running and enjoying those shelters on several weekends throughout the year. Anyway, we're going to be wrapping this thing up here in about 3.5, 4 miles. Start heading home and hopefully find some good grub in Louisville, sorry. You know, something I did fail to mention before I ripped on this trail is originally we wanted to go to somewhere epic. You know, we have our father-son backpacking trip once a year. And I looked at Grayson Highlands, Dolly Sods, Oil Creek, which I've been to Oil Creek, but I wanted to show my son the Adirondack shelters they have there, or the Lower Highlands. I even tried to find cheap flights to the Florida Trail or the Palmetto Trail, and there was just nothing. The other places that we could drive to were way too cold for the winter gear that we have, so that's why we decided to come over here. I've always wanted to come and knock out the adventure trail just to check it off my list and say I did it. So I'm so glad we came and did this, but definitely nothing that I would drive back for again. This is the Pioneer Picnic area. There is no camping here, no overnight stays, just a day use area. But let's go check this out. I love looking at these stone fireplaces. Gives me ideas for how I want to construct my own on my future cabin. Man, I love the siding they used on that. Made out of timber beams. Looks like hand-hewn beams up there on the sides. Yeah. This is awesome. The only thing that fireplace is missing is a big hand-hewn mantle. All right, we're leaving the Pioneer Picnic area for our final 3.9 miles down to the truck. But we have one more stop along the way, Lloyd's Shelter. Boy, I can't imagine what this looks like with water flowing through it. It's hard to believe it's this dry. You know, there's one thing about this trail that baffles me. I haven't seen one campsite anywhere along the trail for 19 miles now, not one campsite. I guess everybody uses the shelters. You compare that to a Wildcat Hollow in Ohio, you can't go 100 yards without seeing a campsite. This has got to be the top 2 or 3 things we've seen. That would just be gorgeous if the river was flowing. Cliff Dweller. What in the world is that? Let me know in the comments what Cliff Dweller is. Hey, what do you know? We made it to Lloyd's Shelter. We almost came to this one last night instead of the Chimney Shelter, but we would have ran into darkness, so we went the other way. Let's go take a closer look. Well, from what I'm seeing so far, this one is by far the best. We're gonna get some sun glare here. Coming off the Ohio River down below. Oh man, this is awesome. Yeah, I like this one. Very rustic looking. It even has a door to block out the cold wind coming up off the river. Let's take a peek inside. Dang. Windows and a picnic table inside the shelter. Very nice. Yep, Lloyd's is where it's at. I wish we would have stayed here last night, but that's all right. All right, we're leaving Lloyd's Shelter. That was a nice little stop for a break. Actually got to take the drone up and fly it out over the river and in front of these rock outcroppings in front of Lloyd's Shelter. A beautiful, beautiful area. And I was reading a little sign on the Lloyd's Shelter there. Said that his sons or family members rebuilt that shelter in 2010 after Lloyd's death to commemorate the area that they had many, many adventures at. So that's pretty cool. It's still a little difficult to see the shelter through the trees when I had the drone up, but I'm glad I took it out there because that was a pretty beautiful area. I didn't realize it was that steep down to the river. I'm really enjoying the view down here of the Ohio River. There's going to be a lot of sun glare right now. Sun's getting low in the sky. It's almost 4:30. Beautiful area. Glad I was able to take the drone up, get some footage of Lloyd's Shelter and the Ohio River and those beautiful rocky banks between the river and the shelter. I had no idea it was that big of a drop-off, and I thought you'd be able to walk down the river, but there's no way. You'd probably have to have ropes to rappel down there. Yeah, that was well worth stopping and taking a little break there at the shelter and taking the drone up to see the area from up above. Looky what I see. We made it. All right. Alrighty folks, that's a wrap on our 24-hour whirlwind tour of the Adventure Trail. Hats off to my son for getting his new personal best of 22.18 miles. His old personal best was 17 miles on the Virginia Triple Crown. Granted, those were tougher miles, but regardless, 22 miles is a big day, especially for somebody that doesn't do this kind of thing all the time. I gotta give a big shout out to 3 fellas that helped me do some planning for this hike. Brian Riddle from the YouTube channel Blue Hat Hiker, Samuel Janes from Bluegrass Backcountry, and Nick Harrington from Smoky Bees Natural. Thank you so much, guys, for answering all my ridiculous questions about this trail and the shelters. Your help was Much appreciated. I'm gonna put links to the channels of those 3 guys down in the description box so you can check out their hikes on this trail, because they did it at different times of the year if you want to get a feel for what the adventure hiking trail looks like in different seasons. And they probably did a better job of filming the trail than I did. Alrighty, well, thanks so much for coming along, guys. I really appreciate it, and thanks for watching. We'll see you again real soon on the next adventure.